Okay, we're getting ready to do a little demo here on the May block party, block of the month, and it's the spool block. Okay, in your direction sheet, we'll start out with the ends of the spool on here. So what I've got here is the ends, the background is going to be a lighter color, and then we have the spool ends here. So what you're going to do is make the diagonal corner on the end of the spool. To do that, you'll take your little squares as it instructs you to cut out, and you can draw the line and sew on there and press it over, trim it like the instructions say, or you can use your folded corner clipper or your simple folded corners ruler. So I'm going to put that right on there. As you know, we've done this many times before. I'm going to cut that off and take it to the sewing machine and sew it. Now I'll do all 8 of them because we have 8 of these. I'll just cut all 8 of them, take them to the sewing machine and sew them. When I come back, then they'll all be look like this, and I'll press them, or I can press them later. And then I'm going to do the other side. Now when you do the other side, don't do the mistake that I did on a couple of them. I turned it around and I came over here and put that on there like that, cut it again, and what I'm going to do is end up with a piece that looks like this. Okay, like this. That's not what you want. What you want to do after you sew that on, come back, and then you're going to change direction of this. You want to make sure, okay, I stop and look. My cutting line goes up this way. It's going to go back that way. So I'm going to lay my piece on here and put this on here, up this way, the cut line this way, cut line goes that way. So my ruler is in a different position on there. Now if you're drawing the line, you're less likely to make that mistake because you'll have those lines and you can see that. But just be careful, use your folded corner clipper or simple folded corners ruler, and you'll be just fine doing it that way. Then once you get those on there and you press them, you're ready to sew them onto the next piece, which the instructions will tell you to do. You take your square for the center of the spool, sew a little strip on both sides of it like this. Now the pieces up here, you press the seam towards the little triangle. Down here, you're going to press the seams towards the square. All right, so that's ready to go, and what I've done is sewn one on here, and it matches up very nicely so that they're sized so that the corner of the spool ends will meet right at the corner of the spool in there. So I'm going to take another one and put it on here, and what I want to show you, make sure you put it on the right way. You don't want to go like that. Put it on like this, and as you can see, it doesn't match up, but that's because you haven't taken in your seam yet. So don't worry about that until you put this on here. I'm going to take a couple pins. I'm going to pin at the end because I want the ends to match. I put this on here and I notice my spool end is just a tiny bit longer than the other piece. Why that happened could be a number of reasons. Maybe I didn't make this seam wide enough. Maybe I made this seam too wide. Possibly all it takes is a tiny bit to make it off. But I'm going to pin it so that it matches at the ends. Okay? And as you can see, I have a little bit of a gap in there. I'm just going to ease that in as I sew it. Maybe even put another pin or 2 in if you need to. Have that on the top, in your, actually if you had that on the bottom, your feed dogs would feed that in very nicely without getting any tucks or puckers in it. And then you just press both ends out and you're ready to go. You make 4 of these to make the spool block, which is a fun old-fashioned block, a little different from what we've been doing. This is the one for the Apple Crunch version, and then we have this is the kit for the icebox cookies. You have 2 darks and 2 lights in there, and then the 30s one with red spool ends on it. So they're all a little different. They're very cute, and we're nearing the end of this, so we'll have 3 more after this one. Thanks for joining us, and hope you have fun with your block this month. I know I sure did.